What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Keep It on the DL. I'm Louis Angelillo, and with me is Devin Bonanno, as always. Let's get right to it. The draft happened on Thursday, considering all circumstances, everything being from home, nothing being done from the studios or Las Vegas as they intended to do. I thought that they did a pretty good job. I really did. There was everything was in pretty good quality. Not many mistakes from what I saw. So I thought everything went smoothly. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I really do agree. I think a lot went into it too. I think the anticipation was just at an all-time high. They broke all types of viewings records for all the rounds.
Yeah, 55 million total viewers.
That's insane. And the sports books too. I mean, they were really racking in. So, I mean, just all around, I thought it went very smoothly. The one thing, I don't know about you, Lou, but I always pay attention to the small details. Obviously, with all these guys getting drafted, for example, with Jalen Hurts, right? Getting drafted in the second round. How did these guys get a hat immediately? Did the NFL ship them 32 hats and whatever team that got drafted?
Possibly.
That's the only thing. Those are the things the logistics, that would have been very interesting to see how it worked. But I think Goodell did a really good job down in his basement. The quality was very good. The interviews were still very good. 10 out of 10 for the NFL. I think they really killed it.
Yeah. I think they did a good job too. But yeah, it's a good point about the hat. They probably, they probably have all 32 and they send the other ones back.
Yeah, I think that's fun.
So, what'd the Jets do? What'd you think of the Jets draft?
You know what? Like I said last week, and I'm sure in the previous weeks also, I'm a big Joe Douglas guy. I really do. I really believe in his philosophy. I love the way he carries himself, what he's done so far. And judging from the picks,
so let's do this. Let's go by the picks, and at the end, just give me your grade.
Yeah, all right.
Give me a
That's
grade.
fine.
I want a grade.
So
let's do that.
Yeah, so my prediction came true. The Jets, Becton did fall to 11 in the first round. Obviously, big need to protect Sam. Now Sam has a franchise blindside protector, a guy that stands at 6'5", over 350, but somehow ran a 5'2", 40 and has foot quickness that not a lot of scouts have seen. They've been raving about his foot quickness. I love the pick. He seems like a great kid. He's been tweeting like crazy. He watched every single pick, was congratulating every single guy. I love his attitude already. And as much as I wanted a wide receiver, I was very hungry for that. I love the pick here because what Joe Douglas did, trading from 48 to 59 and still getting the wide receiver that he got in Denzel Mims, is a masterpiece. I don't know how that happened. It was tremendous. I've been hearing great things about Mims, to be honest with you. I haven't seen too much of the Big 12 back in 2019. But apparently this guy is a great route runner. He's got tremendous hands. He's got speed. And he's a great blocker, too. So I'm really excited to see him. And actually, some of the comparisons that Mims has been getting is to Braylon Edwards. And I was a big Braylon Edwards guy when he was with the Jets. So the Jets need that wide receiver one, obviously. It'll be interesting to see. And then the third round, they got Ashton Davis. A weird pick a little bit, since the Jets really don't need any guys in the secondary at strong safety or full safety, obviously, with Jamal Adams there. A little bit of a strange pick, but people were raving about him too. Very quick guy, kind of a ball hawk back there for Cal. And personally, the steal of the draft for me was getting Zaninga, the defensive end from Florida, in the third round at 79. He was a beast for UF when he was healthy. Just a guy that could really attack the quarterback. Wasn't too healthy in 2019, but had a great 2018 campaign. Really excited to see what he can do. In the fourth round, they got another Gator, a fellow Gator. They got LaMichael Perrine kind of a speedster. Not too good out of the backfield. Doesn't have great of hands, but I can see him being more of a punt return guy or maybe a third down specialist.
That safety, Ashton Davis, returns punts, too.
He does. Yeah, I saw that, too. Yeah, thank you, Lou. I forgot about that. So interesting. And Joe Douglas, I've been reading a lot. All these guys are very quick guys, except obviously for Brandon Mann, which I'll get to in a second. In the fourth round, they went after FIU's quarterback James Morgan. A little bit of an inconsistent guy. I'm a little confused about the pick there, specifically towards him. But the Jets need a backup quarterback. There's no secret in that. But the two picks that I really liked were the Bryce Hall pick, the corner out of Virginia, and the Braden Mann pick, the punter out of A&M. Bryce Hall, I've been seeing nothing but amazing things out of him. A great cover guy. A lot of people were saying if he was able to come out last year, he would have been a potential first rounder. But obviously, with just how deep this draft class was, he slipped to the fifth. So I'm excited what the Jets can do with him. And of course, with the last pick in the sixth round, they drafted Brandon Mann, arguably one of the best punters in college football over the past 25 years statistically. And the Jets needed that too. So really, judging from what I've heard, with all these guys, Joe Douglas did an amazing job. He crossed off a lot of needs, especially drafting 2 tackles. He got his wide receiver 1. He even got his backup quarterback, a great corner, and a punter that he needed. So I'm very, very happy. All these guys logistically can slip right in. Obviously, got to fight for some spots at a training camp. I'm excited to see what they could do.
Give me a grade.
I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, I try not to read into draft grades because you don't know. But going off of what he did, just because of the needs, I'm going to give him an A- because he really got established guys out of college, and obviously that's all you can ask for. And really, I'm giving him an A- just because of that one trade, the trade that he had with the Seahawks, and the trade that they had with the Pats. That Seahawks trade, trading from 48 back up to 59, getting an extra 6th-round pick, and still getting Mims at 59. I thought that was brilliant on his part.
All right, I'm going to say I think the grade's a bit too high. I think I gave the Jets right around a B-. I hate the quarterback pick. I don't know why you wasted a pick on a quarterback. You could take a flyer in undrafted free agency. It's what the Giants did. They took a quarterback, when everything was over. I thought the Jets could have done that. I don't really quite get why you're going to spend a draft pick on a quarterback if you believe in Sam Darnold. And Denzel Mims, you look at the guy. He looked, solid build, fast, can definitely play a wide receiver. He had a drop rate of 11.4 his first 3 seasons in college. He tightened that up his senior year, an average of 4.3. So first year in the NFL, they took a risk. I'm not going to lie. They took a risk. They didn't take a short-handed guy, that's going to come off a slant and make that catch and go. He's going to drop maybe one every 10 to 12 balls. He can't do that. You can't have that from a wide receiver on a team where that's a position that they definitely lack. So it could be a great pick, and it could be one that scratches your head like, dang, this guy can't catch the ball. He's open, but he can't catch the ball. So just hopefully he'll catch the ball, and the Jets would be in luck. But
that's what they can hope.
And
for.
A little question. Yes, they wait, but that's what happens when you wait. And I agree with waiting. I agree with the tackle pick. But that's what happened when you wait till the second round. You got Lamb off the board, Judy off the board, Jefferson off the board, Ruggs off the board, and I was completely wrong about Ruggs, huh, Dev?
Yeah, you were. I think we both
totally
were.
wrong about Ruggs. First
both
wide
were.
receiver off the board. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Was...
I don't know. I see a Joe Ross in him from the Bengals. That's my comparison. I see a Joe Ross kind of guy. I don't
Interesting.
see him being a number one kind of target. I just don't see it. I think he's a home run guy. He's a great wide receiver, explosive, but I don't know. I just don't know if I see that wide receiver one fit. I see a big play guy like Joe Ross on the Bengals. All right, let me get into
Giants, Lou.
my Giants. So they clearly had a plan, and that plan was to revamp the O-line, block for Saquon Barkley, and block for Daniel Jones. And they did it. They took Andrew Thomas with the first overall pick, the first pick in the first round for them. You almost wanted them to... I was always a fan of trading back and trying to get one of those four linemen, try to pick up something, but the deal wasn't there. They weren't just going to move back just to move back. Something wasn't right. They didn't get what they were looking for. So they take Andrew Thomas with the first pick. And honestly, after the college football season ended and the Super Bowl ended, all that, I said, I think Andrew Thomas is the best tackle on this draft. So who I thought was the best tackle is who they ended up with. So I can't be upset about that. Thought they might have gone Isaiah Simmons, since it's tough to take that first tackle off the board, because guess what? Now Andrew Thomas has to be better than Wirfs, he has to be better than Willis, and he has to be better than Becton, because he went first. So that's a lot. That's a lot. He has to be better than those guys because we took him first. That's the way I feel about it. He's got to be right up there, at least a Pro Bowler with those guys. Because, if Willis makes the Pro Bowl and Thomas doesn't, it's going to be disappointing knowing that you could have had a Pro Bowl left tackle. But they went with Thomas. They solidified that part of the line. Second round, they got a huge steal in Xavier McKinney, who was the best safety in this draft. I was hoping for Antoine Winfield Jr. in the second round. I was like, if we can get him, that'd be pretty dang good too. McKinney somehow slips all the way there. He reminds me of a faster Landon Collins, someone that's going to be maybe not give up that big play deep downfield and can still come up and stop the run. Great safety. Love that pick. Then they get to a little later on in the draft, they go Pert. Pert is another tackle. He's actually very good friends with Andrew Thomas. They worked out together, so they're keeping some chemistry there. There's a lot of promise in him. May not be a starter, but if Solder is looking terrible or someone goes down, look for him to come in and be impactful. Definitely needs some tweaking around the edges, but guy with long arms, great strength, a lot of promise there. In that round, they also passed on Alex Highsmith, who was taken 2 picks later, I believe, by the Steelers. He led Charlotte to a 20-sack season, the most in school history. So in a team that's in desperate need of an edge rusher, they didn't take him. So I'm keeping my eye on him, wondering if they should have gone that route. Try to get a pass rush, working on that secondary, because then you take a cornerback. So in order to help out that secondary, you need that pass rush. They work hand in hand. Guys cover guys for 3-4 seconds, the pass rush's going to get there. If the guys aren't covering guys for those initial 3-4 seconds, then they book quarterbacks going to get the ball back and the pass rush isn't going to get there. So these corners and safeties, they look bright. They look like they'll cover some guys, but that pass rush has got to be there within 4 seconds. So they still need to clean up that pass rush, which they did not really address in the draft. I think what they did instead was take some late-round linebackers, guys that are flyers, guys that could come in and be impactful off the edge, guys that could maybe cover a tight end in pass coverage. So later in the draft, they went to try to find a spark on the rush. So we'll see if any of those picks pan out. And in the undrafted part of it, they signed a bunch of people, but what I looked at was they signed, I believe, 4 wide receivers, 2 of them from Ohio State. This guy, Victor, looks like he could have been drafted. He looks pretty good. Potential fill-in for Shepard if Shepard gets hurt. We know Giants had some injury problems at the wide receiver position. Golden Tate and Shepard both have histories, concussions. So having Victor there to potentially plug and play is helpful. And they assigned a 6'7" receiver. I think his last name's John. I remember that. Don't remember his first name. His last name's John. And 6'7" wide receiver. Guy can go up and get a ball. Almost like having Plexico back. Just a big body, someone that can do stuff on the goal line, and in his highlight tape, he could block. He could get that corner and just move him out of the way on a toss to Barkley or something like that. So that's my takeaway from the draft here. Another important note is just today the Giants put something that hasn't been done in 3 years. They gave Marcus Golden a $5.5 million offer, but he's still able to go out and sign with other teams. He has until July 22nd to go elsewhere, or the Giants get him for that 1 year of $5.5 million. If he does go elsewhere, they get a compensatory 2021 draft pick. So July 22nd goes by, the Giants will have another pass rusher in Marcus Golden, who I believe most Giants fans do like and want to see him back in blue. So with that, I'm going to give the Giants here a B+, for addressing that line, but not the pass rush. Maybe if you go out and get Clowney, then you say, hey, okay, this draft's an A now, because you got your offensive line in the draft and you went out in free agency and got your pass rush. So I'm going to stick with a B+.
Yeah, I think that's very respectable. I think they were really zeroed in on taking Andrew Thomas. He's the most NFL-ready tackle coming out. That was very notable for a long time. I think he was their guy, and I really think that they needed to be blown away in order to trade out of that fourth pick. And to be honest with you, I really thought that they were really going to do it, especially.
I thought they should have done it with the Jags. Yeah. I thought the Jags could have gone up to 4 and took a quarterback. Yeah. That's what I thought the Jags were going to do, but that was my ideal trade right there.
Yeah, I'm
going back to 9. If we can get 9, you still could have had Becton. You still could have had Wirfs. I think Willis was gone by then, but even Thomas, you still could have got at 9.
Yes.
So
possibly, yeah. I mean, you're 1-2. I mean, the fact that you got McKinney when you did is unbelievable. Like you said, even if you got Winfield Jr., it would have been fine. But getting a safety like McKinney, wow. I mean, that really makes up your draft. They got a lot of picks. I think you explained it perfectly, Lou. I really like how they focused on protecting Daniel Jones, obviously. And getting some linebackers. They got a ton of linebackers. I'm counting here. They got 4 linebackers.
Right, a lot of I don't think all of them end up making the roster, but I mean, find me a diamond in the rough to go with Blake Martinez. You know,
of course, yeah. I mean,
Ryan Connolly coming off that ACL tear, he looked great before he tore his ACL, but hey, you pick up a diamond in the rough there, you're gonna be all right.
Absolutely, you got that right.
Yep. So that's what the Giants did. They also got a guard from Oregon who looks like a beast, and he's willing to playing center. He said he's been working on center since since the season ended. Oh, another thing the Giants did, they took a bunch of healthy players. They got guys that didn't miss a college game or missed less than 5 college games in their whole careers. So I love that they're healthy, because the one thing that can diminish a team is injuries. You saw that with Mosley on the Jets.
Absolutely.
Their defense was completely lost without C.J. Mosley. Yep. Totally lost. They were completely lost on defense without him. So having a healthy team really can go a very long way. So the Giants, I know the Giants wanted a center. They have center options. Nick Gates, who came in and filled in with injury last year, I thought played pretty well. He's been working on some center. They have Poli, who everyone's not a huge fan of, but still center position, and this guard from Oregon could land a starting job at center, depending on how he does. So let's get to other things in the draft here. The New England goes no quarterback. So no quarterback for New England. They don't draft a quarterback. Instead, they have to get younger. I mean, I saw the graphic every time it's up. The average player on the offensive and defensive side of the ball was 29 years old. So they drafted a lot of guys to, get younger, not worry about the quarterbacking this year. And one of 2 things are going to happen. Next year, they're going to trade for number 1 overall pick and draft Dexter Lawrence, because that's what I could see the Patriots doing, giving Trevor. Dexter's on the Giants. All right. Trevor Lawrence, thank you. Trevor Lawrence, they could trade up, draft Trevor, and give a haul of picks for the next few years to whoever has the number 1 overall. Or they could go out and sign Cam Newton. Cam Newton's still out there. He's another quarterback option the Patriots could go out and get. So that's what I see. I see one of those scenarios happening for New England. So keeping it in the NFC East, Dev, Miami takes Tua.
AFC East, Lou.
AFC East. I am shot. Cabin fever is getting to me.
I think it's getting everybody. It's all right. I'll cut you some slack. I'll try to. Oh my God! But
Thank you.
Listen, I mean, my best friend. He's born and raised in Miami. He's a diehard Fins fan. One of the few, and he was very, very, very stoked about the Tua pick. I mean, obviously as a division rival, I don't want to say this, but I really like what the Dolphins are building down there. Very quickly too. They got their guy, they got their lineman, they spent some money in free agency. You know, they got Jordan Howard now. I mean, it's going to help. I think my opinion. I'm still up in the air about Tua. I don't know. Obviously we got to see him play. Very successful college quarterback. But the big question obviously is how healthy is he going to be? Are the Dolphins going to be one of those teams where 3-4 years down the road they're going to say, oh crap, we should have drafted Herbert, and Herbert's killing it out in San Diego, or wow, me too now, L.A. out in L.A. So I mean, and real quick, touching upon Herbert too, Lou. I don't know if you saw this, but the kind of cool story is that Herbert grew up a huge Ducks fan, Oregon Ducks fan, and a huge Charger fan too, and obviously getting drafted by the Chargers. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, you saw rumors about Herbert going to the Dolphins, moving up over Tua, but didn't end up happening. I think Dolphins had their eye on Tua since 2019, so they ended up getting their guy anyway.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely did.
And if I'm correct, they traded for Breida, correct?
Yes, they. I forgot about that too.
The Dolphins landed Matt Breida,
San Francisco,
right?
Yep, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got two
So that's
quality
another,
running backs back there.
weapon
Very
there.
serviceable, both of them.
Yeah, so the Chargers landed Herbert. Not much to really talk about there. They'll see if he's the guy. I believe he's going to be in a battle with Tyrod Taylor for the starting job. I'm going to give the edge to Tyrod here just because he's more of a vet. He's played in the league before. Have Herbert sit a little bit and see what Tyrod's giving you. If he's not giving you anything special, then you can go in there and throw Herbert. But I think Tyrod's going to be day one starter for the Chargers.
I agree. I'm there with you.
So, yeah. Other quarterbacks that went, Indy is taking Jacob Eason from Washington, I believe, and he's poised to take over after Phillip Rivers' one-year deal. Unless they decide if they do really well with Rivers and Rivers isn't ready to retire, maybe they bring him back. But I like this pick for the Colts. Have him learn behind a veteran in Rivers and take over next year. Not a lot of pressure this year. A lot for him to look, learn, and listen. Just be in those rooms, be around Rivers. As long as Rivers doesn't have his 10 kids running around with him.
It'd be tough.
But yeah, I think this is a solid pick by the Colts there to try and groom another quarterback. It's definitely not going to hurt the Colts.
No, I like it. I agree. I mean, definitely Rivers could be a great guy to learn from, and a very knowledgeable guy too. A guy that plays with a lot of passion.
Teach him how to trash talk appropriately, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so he's going to pick up on that pretty easy. But I mean, the Colts are a little weird situation too. I mean, are they going to be good? They're going to be bad, and no one really knows. Like we talked a few weeks ago, we talked about the AFC South, and that division's kind of a toss-up. But as far as the pick goes, I mean, I like it. Anytime you can learn from a veteran quarterback of his prestige, it's good. And obviously, Eason has the tools. Very raw quarterback, but I think he'll be pretty productive in this league. I like what I've seen from him for sure.
Yeah, Colts were just crushed by Luck. They were figuring out their defense. They were figuring out their O-line, and Luck, all he had to do, and just crushed by Luck. Crushed. Absolutely crushed.
I think everybody was, though.
But from a decent quarterback pick to a questionable quarterback pick, the Bills end up with Jake Fromm.
Yeah, that was, I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch the the last few rounds on Saturday. So I got the alert and I saw that Fromm went to the Bills, and I thought it was a typo. Not that he would take over Josh Allen, obviously, but I think all it is a classic case of taking the best player on the board. Potentially he plays well in the preseason. You have a team that needs a backup quarterback or potentially a starter. Maybe they trade for him and they get a fourth or fifth round pick possibly. I mean, that's all the pick is. Or Fromm's going to be a serviceable backup. Backup quarterbacks are very important to have in this league. I still believe in Jake Fromm. I know you said last week he had an NFL-type line in front of him during college. It is what it is. He still played in the SEC and was still pretty successful. But that was definitely a head-scratcher for me, too, Lou. I'm definitely not going to disagree with you there.
Yeah, a little bit of a head-scratcher. It's just going to sit there and back up Josh Allen. I mean, no team wanted to say, hey, maybe we can give Fromm a shot, whether it was a team like New England or, even a team like Washington if Dwayne Haskins is not panning out. Just someone that could have just said, it's the fifth, sixth round. Let me just take Jake Fromm because I'm not sold on my quarterback. But he ends up on the Bills, so what are you going to do about that? Another quarterback, Jalen Hurts, ends up in Philly. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad pick for Philly. I really don't. I know Carson Wentz is the guy there, but tell me when Carson Wentz played 16 games in the NFL. It hasn't happened. So I'm just saying Jalen Hurts is I believe, a viable backup. And I'm not going to say it's too soon to say, he's going to take over Wentz's spot. But down the line somewhere, I wouldn't put money on Wentz being the future of the Eagles. I wouldn't put money on it. I think it's the favorite, but I'm not putting my money there. I really think if Wentz still has these injuries issues and Jalen Hurts comes in and starts playing real well, he could potentially be in the Eagles starting quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Jalen Hurts is just Wentz's backup and he's never going to see the field. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously this caught everybody off guard, but I think it's there to put pressure on Wentz a little bit, because I really do feel like
he needs it. You're absolutely right about that.
He definitely needs it. And
he's can't be too comfortable.
No, he definitely can. He knows that too. But I feel like Hurts is a quarterback that Doug Peterson would love to run his offense around. Maybe they'll do. I've been reading some stuff about how they're going to do things that similar to what New Orleans has done with Breeze and Hill, which would be kind of cool. Jalen Hurts
potentially. Right.
Jalen Hurts reminds me a lot of Tebow as a college quarterback. I'll be completely honest with you. He's a guy that just won college football games. He did what he had to do to win games. He was successful and made this throw, he made that throw, he made this run, made that run. But how successful and how much is he going to translate into the NFL? That's a big question. But I really think he's there to put pressure on Wentz, which he needs. And Wentz needs to have a breakout year this year. I really think so. I think this is going to be his call-out year. The Eagles have a ton of weapons for him. He has no excuse now. They just picked up Marquise Goodwin from the Niners, and they picked up that real speedy wide receiver from TCU. But we'll see. So I mean I like the pick for the Eagles. I really think Peterson was very high on him. Obviously, he was. And I'm excited to see what they do with Jalen Hurts. I think he's a very interesting topic of discussion in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think that's a strong comparison to Tim Tebow. I'm not going to go that far because I think he's going to be better than Tebow was in the NFL. Tebow's Florida team had Janoris Jenkins, Joe Hayden, Carlos Dunlap,
Aaron Hernandez.
A lot of players. Jordan Reed. Yeah, Hernandez at one. Not sure if he was there every year, but yeah, just played. That Florida team was a big mix of characters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens in Philly with that pick. But what they did do is they gave Wentz some weapons. He's got Zach Ertz. He's got Alshon Jeffrey. He's got they traded for Goodwin from San Francisco, and they drafted a rookie wide receiver who some thought was a little too early for him to go. A little questionable kind of decision, but maybe can take over like a Darren Sproles type role for Philly there. So I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce his name. But yes, that rookie wide receiver. So Wentz has got weapons now. He's not throwing to no one. I know when Alshon Jeffrey was out, he had nobody. But he's got some weapons now. The Eagles did get him a wide receiver core.
Yeah.
So, other quarterback news. Winston lands a 1-year deal with the Saints. I don't think it's a terrible move for the Saints, but when Drew Brees retires, I don't think I'd mind moving on to Winston. You see what his 2020 vision now can do. So, I'm not going to really get into the signing, but just the quarterback going somewhere. So, Winston off the board, going to the Saints. And someone that didn't have a very good draft, Green Bay Packers, Dev. What do you think of that? What do you think of that draft?
Yikes is all I have to say. I just say yikes because, again, I'm a big believer in not judging drafts right off the bat. It's going to take a year or two. But for as deep as this wide receiver class was for 2020 and not drafting one is very strange. That I don't understand. That's why it's a big eye-opener for me. And, the Jordan Love pick, they must really love Jordan Love if they wasted a first-round pick on him.
Hey, I like Jordan Love. I thought he was the second-best quarterback in this draft.
Not a hate on...
But, yeah, I know. You're not helping out Rodgers with it.
Yeah, exactly. Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He just brought you to an NFC Championship game last year. But, listen, if your guy is there, if they love Jordan Love as much as they have, you got to take him, and that's what they did. But the whole not picking wide receiver thing, I did not understand, Lou. I know you probably feel the same way. Yeah.
No help for Rodgers. No help. Still just letting him go out there and try to be Superman. You need help. You can't do it all by yourself. Yeah. Need some help. They did not do it. So, but I know there were some crazy rumors about, Aaron Rodgers wants to go to the Bears or something like that. I don't know. I just thought that's fun to mention. But I wouldn't be happy in Green Bay if I was Aaron Rodgers. I'd be okay with them trading me in a year or two to just, all right, you drafted Jordan Love, go ahead, play him. Get me out of here.
That'd be so weird.
I'll go somewhere where they care about me and give me a shot to win.
Right.
If Aaron Rodgers was on the Bears, they'd probably win the Super Bowl with that defense.
I don't know about winning
Crazy.
a Super Bowl. they got to get through a bunch of good teams.
That defense is unreal.
Yeah, but you still have to get through the Niners. You have to, the Seahawks.
Oh, I'm not saying they're a shoo-in, but I'm saying they're definitely a good chance to win it.
Anytime you have Khalil
If
Mack.
Aaron Rodgers ended up there. Best linebacker, best quarterback. Good recipe to win a Super Bowl. All right, and let's go to the Denver and Oakland's teams that did take wide receivers. They just stacked their wide receivers, Denver and Oakland. Try to keep up with Kansas City in that fast-paced offense, I guess. But, man, they took every wide receiver available, it felt like.
They did. They definitely did. The weird thing about the Oakland pick was that I thought that he went a little too high. Ruggs being the first wide receiver off the board, a little strange. He was definitely going to be a first-round pick, but there was no secret that the Raiders were not going to take a wide receiver for Carr or Mariota, whoever is going to be under center for them. And the Broncos too. Elway clearly wanted a guy for. Oh my God,
Drew Lock.
Thank you very much, Lou. I was blanking out. You read my mind. For Drew Lock, young quarterback. To kind of put some pressure on the Chiefs. They're clearly...
Yeah, they went out, they got Melvin Gordon for Drew Lock, too.
Yeah, they did.
So...
Yeah,
Broncos will have an offense next year. That's for sure.
They will. They'll have a good offense. They still have a good defense. You can't forget that. Von Miller's still very good. It's still a tight defense they have out there. The Chiefs are still the runaway. But the Raiders, don't forget that they were not a bad team at all last year. They were in the wild card running until the last few weeks of the season.
They got crushed by the Jets, Dev. They got killed by the Jets. They were a bad team.
I don't think they were a bad team, Lou. For what they did, for as much...
they were a little disappointing. They were definitely disappointing.
I don't think so. I think they exceeded expectations. You have to remember, they traded away their best defensive player in football, let alone they got first-round picks back, and Gruden's building through the draft. I love what he's doing there. There's a method to he and Mayock's madness, that's for sure.
It better start showing, though.
It will.
And soon. Especially with Carr and Mariota. You got two questionable quarterbacks now. It's just... I don't know. I'm questioning things out in Oakland a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, I don't see much of a help to that defense in this draft. Just questioning some things out there in Oakland. But yes, the Chiefs are definitely still the front runner. Denver is putting an offense around Drew Lock, and that's who the season's going to come down to for Denver. How well is Drew Lock going to play?
Right. Yeah, well,
that's what it comes down to.
He played very well towards the end of the year last year, of course.
Yeah, he did. All right, a team that I liked what they did in the draft, San Francisco. They ended up picking up Trent Williams from the Redskins, who the Redskins just needed to trade because he wasn't playing for the Redskins, so you have to get something for him. So they ended up with Trent Williams. The trade that landed them the 13th overall pick, I believe, with Indy for DeForest Buckner. Mm-hmm. They go out and get Kinlaw, a great replacement. So a younger guy, cheaper, could be just as productive. Who knows? So I think San Fran did a lot of good things.
Yeah, they did. They did a very good job. I mean, Kinlaw is a very, very good pick. John Lynch knows what he's doing. I mean, just look at what they did last year. They were the number 2 overall pick. They had the number 2 overall pick and went to the Super Bowl with that roster. They already have a very, very good defense. And adding Kinlaw to that, filling the void for Buckner, that's big. And trading for Trent Williams, obviously a little older in age, in his early 30s. I believe he's 32, but he fills the void for Joe Staley as well. Staley.
Yeah, retired Joe Staley, yep.
Definitely a big...
Little surprising. I thought they had a good shot to be back there and he would want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
It came a little bit as a surprise to me.
No, I mean, the biggest question with the Niners at the end of the day, and I'm sure we can both agree on this, is the quarterback situation. Is Jimmy G their guy? Can he do what it takes?
You know what? This is what's going to happen. Jimmy G had that Super Bowl won to the fourth quarter, right? He had it won. The defense did their job. The run game did their job. But when the game came down to it and they needed to score, Garoppolo's not your guy. He's not. You can play with the lead like they did. Their defense did enough to stop Mahomes. The run game, he didn't turn the ball over. He was accurate enough. He made some third down conversions when he had to, but this guy's not going to take you down and make that throw to Sanders deep downfield. You make that throw to Sanders, you could win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the difference. That's why they say, I can't believe Eli won those 2 Super Bowls. Well, Eli could make that throw. He was able to do it. He was able to bring teams back and have that 2-minute drive to win a game. I don't know if I see that from Garoppolo. I see a respectable quarterback that has a great defense, but I'm not sure if I see that from Garoppolo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this year they got to see what he can do. Obviously, his second full year being healthy. But, man, I'm just playing over that throw to Emmanuel Sanders in the fourth quarter late there. Just overthrown him by about 3 or 4 yards. That hurts.
Super Bowl quarterbacks make that throw, Dev. They do.
They do.
Yep. So, other things that happened around the draft. The Jaguars did not trade Ngakoue or Fournette in this draft. So, those two are still out there. Potential trade bait. We'll see what the Jags plan to do with that. And Carolina goes all defense in this draft. Not one offensive player drafted. You have a new quarterback. I guess Matt Rule wanted defense. No help for Teddy Bridgewater over there in his first year.
No, I mean, obviously you got McCaffrey. I think that's plenty.
Oh, that's a yes.
Robbie Anderson.
No new help. No new help. Henderson
they picked
too.
Up Robbie Anderson too. So they got some weapons on offense. But I really think, obviously, losing a Kuechly really hurts. And out of nowhere, definitely going to be a big void for them. They're definitely a question mark in the NFC South. It's either going to be. I mean, I think they're going to finish last. Personally, obviously, with the Bucs and the Saints and the Falcons, they're going to be a lot better. But Matt Rule, I don't know what he's going to build down there. It's he's got a lot of pressure. I'll tell you that much. I think he has a lot of pressure in Carolina.
He does.
After how often,
absolutely,
after how much he was sought out. So he talks a big game. We'll see what he could do. He brought in a guy in Teddy Bridgewater I believe in. He's definitely showed he can play. And his old guy from Temple and Robbie Anderson, and signed McCaffrey to that $1 billion contract extension. So we'll see what they can do.
But that's one guy I don't believe in. I'm not a Robbie Anderson believer. I'm just not. I don't think he's going to help out Carolina that much. But they are trying to reshape that defense, and I don't blame him for that. I do not blame him taking all defensive picks. But if the right offensive pick is there, I would have gone with it. I would have tried to give him another weapon.
Yeah, it's weird.
But, yeah. All defense for Carolina. Definitely trying to do something with Luke Kuechly out.
Yeah.
Oh, that probably sums it up for the draft. A lot to talk about there.
It feels good to talk football, doesn't it, Lou?
Yes, it does. It does. Those 40 minutes just flew by.
I know. It's amazing.
Absolutely flew by. Yep. But there's a couple more things we do have to get to here. Before we leave football, I believe the day after the episode 5 dropped, Gronkowski got traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gronk reunites with Brady. Gronk obviously not liking the Patriots system, I don't think. I think that's why he retired. And said he'll only catch passes from Tom Brady. Tom Brady leaves the Patriots. Gronk's love for football comes back. He finds himself back in Tampa. I mean, essentially, the Patriots got a 4th-round pick for a guy that wasn't playing with them this year, so not a bad deal for the Pats. And they couldn't have hung on to Gronkowski anyway. Gronkowski was owned $10 million, and the Patriots only had $2.3 million in cap space, so they could not take Gronk on anyway. So they did have to trade him. They ended up with a 4th-round pick out of it, giving up Gronk and a 7th. So not a terrible deal for the Pats. And now you got the Bucs, who have O.J. Howard. I believe they still have Cameron Brate, and now Rob Gronkowski. I believe so, unless his contract was up. I
they have all 3.
Look into that. But, yeah, so Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Gronk. Rumors are they are trying to move O.J. Howard. So we'll see what the Bucs do there.
Yeah,
what do you think of Gronk to Tampa? I mean, the guy's been out of football for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy that he wasn't going to come back. I mean, from all the interviews, every single time he had an interview, it almost seemed like he was asked if he was going to come back, and he said no. And he even had a few interviews about how football basically ruined his life. And I remember a few interviews where he was actually brought to tears. Just because of the...
And he slimmed down, too.
I know.
He was slim.
Yeah, he was. I know. I've seen a bunch of stuff.
Not sure if he'll be the same blocker he was in New England.
No, but I mean, he's a monster. He'll beef up. I mean, he was huge, obviously, when he was playing. He and Brady have that connection. All the Pats fans are like, who cares? We got a 4th-round pick for a guy who sucked his last year. Blah, blah, blah. Can't even stay healthy. They're just trying to recoup themselves over the trade. I mean, for him, I think it's a perfect situation for him. He's going down to Tampa, obviously with Brady, who he's best friends with, a guy that he's been to multiple Super Bowls with, won multiple Super Bowls with. The chemistry among those two is great, and it's going to relieve a lot of pressure on him too. I mean, that offense is going to be phenomenal. The weapons that they have, they got Mike Evans, they picked Goodwin.
Wirfs in the draft as well.
Yes, him too. Yeah, and they got some protection for Tom. I love it for the Bucks. I mean, I'm really excited to see Gronk play. I love watching him play. I just love his persona. I love everything about him. He's just the best. And as much, obviously, being a Jet fan, as much as I'm happy seeing Brady leave the AFC East, I'm glad he didn't retire. I love watching Brady play. It's just like watching Big Papi or someone like that. I mean, the magnitude of him playing in our generation for as long as he has and as great as he has, I mean, that's a sports fan coming out in me and appreciating that. And it's almost the same thing for Gronk, too. Arguably the best tight end in history, and those two guys.
Yeah, Tony G was, that for so many years. He's not the best tight end ever, but I mean, just because of the years Tony Gonzalez played and how he basically played healthy his whole career, I definitely leave Tony Gonzalez at one, but he's right there with Antonio Gates, no doubt.
Yeah, I was going to say Antonio Gates. I mean, obviously, no disrespect to Tony Gonzalez. He was a Madden great and obviously a great for the for the Chiefs, too, and the Falcons towards the end of his career. But, I mean,
yeah.
I appreciate watching Gronk play. I think it's going to be good. I'm really excited to watch the Bucs this year.
Yeah, you could be excited to watch the Bucs. I would love to see them fail. I don't think they're not Super Bowl bound. You're not going to tell me the Bucs are Super Bowl bound. I don't even think they're going to win this division. I think the Saints got this division again, to be totally honest. I don't know. I just think Brady's cliff has come. I think it's finally here. I think we're going to finally see a Brady decline here. I really do. Just that final game against Tennessee, Ian looked great. His last throw was a pick six. I think he's going downhill. I don't think we're not going to see 2015 Tom Brady here. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. But if they put the weapons around him, so as long as he gets those weapons the ball, their offense will still be all right. I'm not here saying he's going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's just not going to be at the top. That's just how I feel. Maybe these weapons will help him out and keep his numbers at the top of the list, but I don't know. I was never really a Brady Cliff guy. But I just think it's here now. I just think now it's here. It's the first time I'm really saying the cliff is here. And I think it's here now for Tom.
I've learned to never doubt Tom Brady, so I'm keeping my mouth shut.
I don't doubt him either. I've never really doubted him either, but right now this is the first time I'm doubting him. I think he's done. I think he's playing his last 2 years out in Tampa, just like Michael Jordan played his last 2 years out with the Wizards, and then he's going to retire, and nothing's going to happen to Tampa.
I think that offense is way too talented. Way too talented. Look what Winston
did.
They'll
put up points, but I don't know. I don't know about that defense. They franchise tag Shaq Barrett, but I'm not sure about that defense. Not sure about it. That sums up the NFL. We do have two more quick things to get into here. I believe around the same time Gronk went to the Bucs, Red Sox got handed their punishment finally. About 3 months too late, they got handed their punishment. Their replay coordinator is suspended for the year. Alex Cora is suspended for 2020 with his involvement in the Astros. He's facing no penalty for the Red Sox situation, but for the Astros situation from 2017, Alex Cora will be suspended for this season. Ron Roanoke named interim manager for the Red Sox, and they lose a second-round draft pick. So basically, when all's said and done, the punishment for the Apple Watch gate was a second-round pick. I'm not going to say MLB drops the ball on this one, blah, 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 but what the Red Sox did compared to what Houston did is completely different. It's apples and oranges. Houston was getting real time, no one on base, knew what pitch was coming every time you step up to the plate. Where Red Sox were decoding signs with a runner on second base. So once a runner got to second, they knew what to look for because they were videotaping the signs, going back, using the Apple Watch, picking up their sequences, and then once there was a runner on second base, he knew exactly what the pitcher was going to do. And I believe this is something that all teams were doing. Yankees included. I'm not going to say Yankees or Angels in all this. I believe all teams were doing this. But MLB came in. They knew something about it. They said, knock it off, stop it. Red Sox didn't knock it off, and that's their second-round pick being lost. So I think that I'm okay with the punishment. I'm fine with it. Second-round pick. I'm not going to sit here and cry about how it's not enough, but I thought it was the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's doing it, like you said. I mean, there's no secret about that, too. I mean, there was a lot of news that the Yankees were doing it, and the Sox were kind of blaming the Yankees. But, I mean, the Red Sox at least I read something that they apologized to teams, which is obviously a lot more than the Astros did. I don't even want to talk about them because that still gets me
right. The only team that got more mad about this is the Dodgers. Yeah. That's the only team that could be more mad about this. But they did say they didn't find any use of it in the playoffs or things like that. But when MLB came in and said knock it off, they didn't knock it off.
Exactly. I mean, I just think this is a path for Alex Cora to go back to Boston.
Yeah, I think they are bringing him back. I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Mookie comes back too, and then they're just right back where they were almost. And you're going to have a healthy Chris Sale.
Mookie back to the Red Sox.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is it's a punishment that's going to get, I don't want to say overlooked, but it's not going to be dwelled on like the Astros, obviously. What the hell is a second-round draft pick in baseball? Obviously, it really does not mean as much. Cora out for 2020 when there's only going to be probably 80 games in 2020, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have worked out any better for the Sox. To get it over with right now, obviously, no games been played for anybody. I don't think this is too bad at all. So I'm fine with it too. I have no issue with it.
Yep. So last thing we got here quickly is the NBA is opening facilities on May 8th for teams to go back and practice, do whatever, but I really don't think that there should be any extent to the season. They originally had this date May 1st, but of all the teams, the Atlanta Hawks were the team that said, we will not go back May 1st. And it's almost kind of like it was a statement to the Georgia, governor, just being like, hey, you can open up the state, but guess what? We're not even going to go back. So I'm not sure. It's kind of ironic that the one team not going back is the one state that kind of wants to open up with this whole virus thing going on. But NBA is trying to get people back. So May 8th, they're opening facilities, and then they said something about coming back in August. You can take it away with how dumb that would be.
Yeah, I don't understand. What are you going to have? What's the 3-month buffer period anyway? That doesn't make sense for me either.
Like these.
But I mean, listen, it's the same. Obviously, the NBA and the NHL are in the same predicament, basically at the same time period in their respective seasons. So I'm going to put it into perspective as a hockey fan. I just want to cancel the season. Obviously, the Devils are out, but I try to think of a team, for example, like I said last week, the Lakers. How are you just going to cancel the season with everything that went on, obviously, with Kobe's death and possibly coming out of the West? And I mean, how is the NBA going to throw away a Bucks-Lakers finals? That'd be kind of tough. But I just think they just have to reset. They just got to throw the season away as much as it hurts. It doesn't make sense. Make sure everyone's healthy. Make sure.
Unless they can be done by July, they just gotta throw this away. I mean, you have the NBA draft set for June 25th, which, if my girlfriend listens to this, it's your birthday. I don't want you to think like, oh, it's the way to not mention my birthday, but yes. The draft is scheduled for June 25th. Her and I will be watching on the couch for her birthday. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
I'll keep you updated.
We'll see. But I mean, that's kind of your date to finish this up. If you can finish it before the draft, or you go in a little bit into July, postpone the draft till July 25th, whatever it is. But You can't come back in August. You're going to have, like, what are you going to do? Draft, and then you have players on your team, and you're like, well, can they play come August? Like, what's going to happen? I mean, you're going to leave guys off for 5 months, finish the season in August, and be like, all right, see you in a month for the start of next season. Like, what? That just doesn't fit with me. I think you got to try to get this season done by July 1st to have any sort of success with it. Then have your draft. Maybe have summer league in August. Put the summer league there in August, and then start up in October. But NBA needs to figure it out here. August games should not happen. Absolutely not.
No, I think it's.
But running on 55 minutes here. We had a lot to do today. In case you're wondering, Dev still has not watched the MJ documentary. Nope. He's going to cave. I know he's going to cave. There's no way he's going to let another 3 weeks go by without watching it. He's going to cave at some point here, but I loved it. Still loving the MJ doc. Once Dev caves, we'll talk about it a little more.
The clips look so sick, and that Rodman episode looks so awesome. I'm really trying not to, but oh my God, it's gonna be a long week. I'll tell you that much. I'll keep you updated.
The whole sports world, except Devin Bonanno, is watching The Last Dance. That'll do it, everybody. We will see you next week.
Bye.